Good morning and welcome everyone to our Saturday chat video, our weekly recap, wrap up, question and answer, whatever you want to call it. This is actually now the 5th episode of this series. I first started this a little over a month ago, kind of thinking, well, let's try this out, see how it goes, see if I can get a little more comfortable talking in front of the camera, get used to answering a lot of the questions I get from you guys, and it seems like it's working out good. We are now on the 5th episode. The first 4 went fairly decent, so I'm decided I'm going to go ahead and keep it up. We'll see how it goes from here on out, so please feel free to bring any questions that you might have or any other topics or ideas that we could talk about. Just let me know in the comment section. All right, so let's get this going. Okay, so to wrap up this week, it was a fairly uneventful week. I did spend the beginning of the week in Boise, Idaho. I was still hanging out with Craig from YouTube channel Vandering About. Craig's a super cool guy. We just had a really good time hanging out. He's super mellow, and it was just cool to talk van life and YouTube. And he's got a really cool dog, Woody. Enjoyed spending some time with both those guys. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into what's going on now. My last video I posted, my Friday video, was supposed to be me heading out of Boise and pulling into Oregon, but I gave a little update video because when I sat down to edit that video, my laptop wasn't working. And I'm really glad that I made that short update video talking about the issue I had with my laptop, because I was already freaking out and thinking I was going to have to spend money and send the laptop off and wait for it to be repaired, and that would just get me behind on my YouTube videos. So initially I was thinking I'll just go buy another laptop, I'll have this one repaired and use it as backup. And then I started reading the comments, and you guys totally had run into this problem before. So there it is, we are up and running. The whole trick was to have the power cord plugged in and remove the battery. While the battery was removed, hold down the power button for a few seconds. It turned right on. Booted up, I was able to replace the battery. The battery continued to charge, and now we are up and running again. Thanks so much, guys. Okay, so I did want to give a little recap on my trip to Atlana, Idaho. Saw that in this week's video. Me and Craig took this epic trip up this long 70-mile dirt road, camped at a few spots along the way, and made it into this really small, interesting town called Atlana, Idaho. Some of the things I didn't mention in that video, I didn't film in the little town of Atlanta. I only showed as much as I did on purpose. I did not feel good about filming there. It was really interesting. As I drove through there, I was kind of like zooming in on some of the houses, and then I saw people back, looking out the window, looking at me, as I'm zooming in on their home, kind of invading their privacy, and I just felt it just didn't feel right. Felt like the amount that I showed in the video I did on Atlanta was just enough. I didn't really need to show much more. If you really want to experience the town, you got to go there yourself. There was only so much I could do with video. I could have flew the drone over their little town, and that again, I just didn't feel good about. These people live out in a small town like that for a reason, and they know there's a little bit of a tourist draw. People make that epic drive just for fun and go to the lodge and get a cold beer or cold soda and then make the drive back out. But for the most part, it feels like those people that live there, they live there because they're kind of like their privacy, they like their peace and quiet. And for me to just come in there and stick a camera in everyone's face and flying drones over their houses, it just didn't seem right. So I took the approach that I did kind of methodically, and I'm really glad that I handled it the way I did. A couple other things I did want to mention about that town of Atlanta. After mainly talked to the woman that owns and runs the lodge there. She had been there for 25 years. It is 70 miles from the town of Atlanta out to the first paved road. And she was saying on average, it's about 3.5 hours just to get out. So you're looking at a 6.5, 7-hour drive round trip just to get in and out of there. She did say that the mailman comes out there 6 days a week. He makes that, what would it be, 6-7 hour round trip drive every day. Which to me is amazing. In the winter months, I think she said that he only comes out 3 or 4 days a week, but still, that's amazing that they do that. She did say that, with that length of a drive in and out, the mailman actually will take a little list some small grocery items he'll bring out with the mail for the residents. She did say that she actually orders food online and has it delivered out there. I don't know what she has to pay for that, but really, really interesting way to live. It was a great experience. And for me, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about it because I didn't show and document as much as I did in the video I did on it. Because it was just such an interesting place. It was just so like foreign for me to come in there and be like, wow, how am I going to handle this? How do I express this on video to you guys out there? So I feel like I did the best I could, and I was happy with the outcome. So I'm definitely going to seek out more small towns like that in my travels. I just really have a thing for them. I think it's neat, and I think it's especially neat to be able to talk to the locals and get just a little bit of an insight on what it's really like to live in a place like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions. I've had a few here from last week's video. First one, someone was asking about screens on my windows. I have showed my side door screens. How I handle that with the screens on the windows, you can just go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's or a hardware store, buy a roll of normal window screen, and at the same place, hardware store, get a little pack of magnets and just hold up the screen to your window, cut it out oversized, and then you can just use the magnets to hold it against the body of the vehicle. Works out really well. I would show you my setup on my front windows, but I actually gave those screens away to somebody. I wasn't using the front ones so much. I use my side doors more than the front windows open. So yeah, just get yourself some bulk screen and some magnets and go to town. Have fun with it. Okay, so the next question I've got is about the sugar beet harvest. If you don't know about the sugar beet harvest, this is considered a work camping job, basically a seasonal short-term job where they give you a campsite included and you don't pay for that. There's hookups and facilities included, so you have a place to stay for free while you work this seasonal job. Now the sugar beet harvest, if you want more information, go to www.sugarbeetharvest.com. That's the official website. You can apply, get in touch with someone to talk to get more info on the job. It goes down in the fall around October, anywhere from Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota. The question I've got about this job is there's people that are applying for it because they found out about the job through me and my channel. I've done some reviews on the job in the past, and they're getting turned away because they're in a van. They're getting turned away because they're single, and this is something that is kind of new. I've talked to Al, the PR guy with the beet harvest, and there's just been a huge influx, guys. The last couple years, people are quitting their jobs, buying RVs or vans, and hitting the road and taking seasonal jobs, doing what I basically did 3 years ago. But there's just been a huge influx. These seasonal jobs, they went from just a few years ago not having enough work campers to now being completely overloaded, having way more applicants than they could ever hire. So that's what's going on. They're just able to be more picky now. And for these jobs, what they've found through experience is, you know, of course, if they hire a couple, that's 2 work campers in 1 campsite, so they get more bang for their buck. For the company, that's what they want. They want to increase profits. It's a better business decision to bring in 2 workers that can stay in 1 campsite and be able to work those 2 people, as opposed to a single person that's taking up 1 campsite and they're only getting 1 worker. So I understand that. I understand why they would go with couples over a single person. Doesn't seem fair to us single people, but that's the case. And the other thing is them requiring you to be in a fully self-contained RV, you know, with like a shower and toilet and holding tanks. They hired me 2 years ago and I was in a van. I don't know what to tell you about that. They're offering me to come back and I'm still in a van. I asked Al about this and he's basically said, I got in before this new set of rules, so I'm welcome back. I've proved myself, kind of. I've earned my keep. So sucks for you guys that are trying to apply now and that are single and in vans. I don't know what to say except that I got in before the new rules. And I think this is something that's going to be, you're going to see more and more with work camping jobs. There's just so many people out here applying for these jobs now. So I don't know what to tell you. I have heard from some people that have emailed me that they applied, they were told this, but they were also told that they were going to be put on a backup list in case someone else didn't show up, a couple didn't show up in their RV, that they're going to use these single people in vans as like backup. If at the last minute they'll call you up there. I know it's not very convenient because North Dakota is so out of the way. I know people in the past that just show up to the beet harvest yards without even applying, and they get hired. You're taking a risk by driving a long distance and not knowing if you have a job. But personally, if I don't hear anything back, because I'm still up in the air on the beet harvest right now, I have not heard if I officially have a position, I'm just going to drive to the yard anyway and just show up. I guarantee you they'll put me to work. So that's all I can really say on those seasonal jobs. I have heard Amazon is the same. I'm not applying for Amazon this year. I was turned away last year for the reason of being in a van and single. So yeah, times are changing. Things are getting a little bit more competitive, I guess, in the mobile living world. Okay, so the next question I've got is about my living space. How big is my living space? This is the short Dodge van. So from where I have my curtain set up to the back of the van, the back doors, is 8 feet. And then it is 6 feet wide. So it's a 6x8 space. I'm a little over 4 feet high as far as the height. So pretty small space, but it's working out. Okay, so the next question I get quite a bit is about my monthly travel expenses. I'm going to go ahead and just call that monthly expenses. I live in my van full time, so I'm kind of always traveling. It's on average. It all depends on how much you're moving, how many miles you're covering in a month. If you've watched my videos enough, I move fairly slow. If I do move a lot of miles in one drive, the next few spots I'm at, I try to drag out a little bit. I haven't really come up with an average miles in a month, but I do know my average expenses. So for food, it's about $300 a month. That's $75 a week. For gas, it's $200 to $300 a month. And for my recurring monthly bills, it's about $160. So we're looking at on an average of $760 a month for total living, traveling expenses. My most expensive month has probably been about $900 to $1,000. That's a month where I've had to purchase some other things, some camera gear, some other bigger things that I purchased for the van. But for the most part, I don't spend a lot of money on things. I just gas, food, bills, and that's it for me. The least amount of money I've ever lived on living this lifestyle has probably been about $400 to $500 a month. And like I said, the most has been about $1,000. And there's just not a whole lot else that goes into my expenses. In case you're wondering, I don't have health insurance. I don't get penalized for not having health insurance because I live below the poverty level. And it just makes me feel better about life, about living very simply and not having to consume a lot and go through this cycle like I used to of just bringing all this money in, putting out all this money every month, and just, I don't know, I just feel better about spending less money every month. So yeah, short answer, $700-800 a month. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I really appreciate everyone that's been following along. Thank you so much, guys. It means a lot to me. Thank you. If you have any questions or topics for next Saturday's video, go ahead and leave that in the comment section of this video. We will try to address those next week. But in the meantime, take care, everyone. We'll see you soon. Peace.